Hello, welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohort, Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Well, JP's first son, Tim Hoey, is coming back from Vegas. Hope he didn't lose his
He's
shirt.
flying in right as we speak,
The professor, Russ Stevens, is coming in from
flying back
DC.
from DC, right?
So it's just my uncle and I. Look,
Mhm.
got to keep it home, got to keep it in the family. So here we go.
Yep,
We've done this show
yep.
before.
The
Um,
rest of the grandstanders have it on airplane mode, so they can't report in.
They cannot, but we can report in breaking news from the Grandstanders live desk. Joe, I was covering the Bruins on Monday for a story I'm writing, and I go to the bathroom, and who do I see in there on the ninth floor? There's only one bathroom for the whole press area and everybody up there. One bathroom, two stalls. Uh, uh, in fact, I'm sure Don Sweeney's bathroom is bigger at home. But who's standing there? Me and Don Sweeney. And he looked very much like a guy who knew he was going to have to fire somebody in the next 24 hours. And that's what he did. Jim Montgomery gets fired, has an incredible record, regular season in his 2+ years, Joe.
Even including the playoffs, he has the best winning percentage of any Bruins coach in history.
Unbelievable. But he definitely needed to go. And my argument
Yeah,
was that
it had fallen off the cliff this year.
because I obviously I didn't look at the numbers, but they were getting wiped out. And when you get wiped out in hockey, that means third period, guys are quitting. They're not playing,
I
not
don't know if they're quitting, but Swayman has been garbage.
yeah,
How
over
many games
one.
he should have been pulled out of? You know,
Yeah.
he's been the problem ever
Yeah, well
since
we
he signed his contract. I don't know if the what's going on there, but
well clearly he didn't go to training camp, Joe.
yeah,
Joe, you talk about this and I'm a believer. You say they're just guys who, unless they're on the clock, aren't going to do
they do
diddly
nothing.
squat. And it was clear that Swayman was not in play shape begin the season.
Yeah,
They stuck him in there, and he's been horrible. More than one goal per game average than last year. That's unacceptable.
yeah, yeah. Ridiculous with the same or better defenders in front of you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Although I have to admit, geez, McAvoy's been awful. Low rise been terrible. You know, Carlo's Carlo.
Yeah,
Carlo's going to give it up every couple times a game.
yeah. McAvoy has been a disappointment. What do you do with him if there's a guy out the door in the deadline? Is it McAvoy or is it Brad Marchand?
Well, I don't think you're not gonna send out the captain. You know, he sells tickets. You realize that that game you were at the other night was the first non-sellout in years.
Yeah, there's a lot of empty seats, and a lot of
Yeah,
people.
they even announced a non-sellout, which is rare for teams like to keep it, make it at least look like it was a sellout
And
when they lose no shows.
we know with the Red Sox, it, it's going bad when there's no secondary market, and you could get seats at that for that game at $30 to
Yeah.
get inside, and that's
Well,
for the Bruins. That's really low right now.
yeah. And but you see the new law they passed here in the state of Massachusetts.
What
You
law?
can't
Wait, what?
if you get any tickets, you can't resell them except through the who you bought them through to keep scalping down. It's a crazy law. I don't think it's going to last the test of time.
We can't. I can't do SeatGeek anymore. No, no,
I
Joe.
think yes, you can, but if you bought it from SeatGeek, then you'd have to resell it through SeatGeek.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's confusing. Yeah. But no, I mean, look, when the secondary market's gone, then the season tickets are gone. Season ticket holders, excuse me, are gone. Because if they can't resell their tickets, that's a big a big piece of a pie, a money pie that they're gonna eat on
Yeah, your
10,
average
15.
fan, like a Red Sox fan, hey, there's 81 games. You can't go to all 81. So you're
No,
going to sell, say, at least 20, 30 of them, right?
easy. And then you're going to
Even
give
your
away
even your
some.
biggest fans.
But look, I always say that we're going to eat minimum between 5 to 7 games
Mm,
per Red Sox season. We're just going to eat them.
yeah.
Bad weather, whatever. It just you have to put that into your cost.
Yeah.
But the NHL depends on uh, box office more than any other of the
Any other league, yeah.
four
They
major
don't have the
sports.
TV contracts that
Yeah,
the
so
other sports have.
this is when Jacobs will wake up when all of a sudden they're not getting sellouts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because that's his business is arenas and concessions. That's the business of the Jacobs. They also happen to own the Bruins, but mostly their business is owning arenas and owning concessions.
Joe, I would argue that Montgomery was dead man walking the moment they blew that 3-game-to-1 series against the Panthers when they had the historic best record
Well,
in
you
the
know what
history of
saved
the
them
regular
was the comeback when they came back and beat Toronto
Well, well, no,
in that and won that sixth and seventh game there.
yeah, right. But last year, he would have been fired last year.
Yes.
They didn't get to the
Yeah.
second
He would have
round.
been fired then.
Yeah,
That got him to this year.
yeah. And the fact is,
Unfortunately, that's what gave Swayman the idea that he was the best goalie in the league and should get
yeah.
top dollar.
Well, he got paid. Just so you know
He
that
got paid, and now the Bruins are really fucked because of it.
absolutely he's obviously, look, he's got to play up to his contract. And you talked about it. He never proved that he was that type of player before they gave it to him.
Yeah, he'd never been anything more than a part-time player.
Yeah, and now look, the backup is playing tonight. Um, Look, this is go real south.
Yeah, Swayman's benched. The new coach, first thing the new coach did was bench him.
Wow. That's not good. When
Yeah.
and how many years do we have him for? 8?
Oh, I don't know, but it was more a message to be sent. Hey, smarten up. Look what you just did. You got paid, but you got another guy lost his job because of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they signed Omar to a deal a lot less than Swayman got, right?
Well, Almark was getting 5.
No, but didn't he re-up? Who we trade him to? The
Oh,
Hurricanes
Ottawa. Yeah, the Senators.
or the Senators? Okay. Didn't he re-up with them already?
Oh, maybe he did. I didn't realize
Oh, I thought he
they had,
did, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
and that's who we got Corpusalo from. That he was
Yeah,
part of that deal. He gets like almost 3 million, I think.
yeah. Well, he's a pretty good backup, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that's what Swayman had always been a backup, but he demanded he wanted Vasilevsky money.
so does Sacco have any chance of continuing on as head coach after the season?
Who?
Is it a Joe
Sacco?
Sacco? Wait,
Yeah, I don't know. It's
isn't that that's who's
you can't that it kind of spoiled their
isn't it Sacco, right? Am I right?
at least got through the season with yeah, Joe Sacco.
Yeah, Joe Sacco. Okay.
But I think because you can't really go. Everyone, the musical chairs have stopped, and there's no one sitting out there that you probably want. I
Yeah,
guess you start a coaching search now, and you include Sacco, obviously.
yeah.
Uh, that by the end of the year, things will have changed.
You're gonna have to find another Bruce Cassidy, and clearly that was a mistake getting rid of him.
Well, Sweeney and Neely have fired 3 NHL Coach of the Years in Claude, Cassidy, and Monty now.
Well, we know
All three,
Neely's never go
all three won the Jack Adams Award. You know,
Neely's not going anywhere ever. He's a
no,
lifer.
because if they come with the pitchforks and everything, he'll toss Sweeney out the ninth
Oh,
floor.
that's for sure. Yeah, Sweeney's days are numbered. I didn't realize Sweeney's the same age as me. I thought he was older than me. He was born in 66.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Sweeney has had a free pass for a long time. And we talk about that draft where they had 3 number 1 picks and they fucked them all up.
3 in a row.
and they screwed them all up.
Well, one was DeBrusque, and another guy, I forget but the other two didn't pan out.
But there were a lot of names of guys who have performed
Yeah, yeah.
high level. That you can't screw up that. That's who I don't even know. Have you ever heard of
But
that?
remember, that was Sweeney's first year, so he was dependent totally on the scouts from the previous regime.
I know, but have you ever heard? I don't. I've heard back to back, and the Celtics had back to back. If you remember, they picked Sullinger and Fab Mello. They screwed that up. But I've never heard three in a row.
Yeah. Sullinger and Fab Mello at least were, you know, down at the back end of the draft, too,
Yeah,
you know. It
I
wasn't
know.
Fab a second rounder?
No, no, no. Both first rounder. That was back to
Oh,
back.
first.
What spots were they when they did the three in a row? Was it like mid?
But yeah, it was like 13, 14, 15 type.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. Look, you set it all up. You set the franchise up for the future when when you get that, and then you have to hit.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of,
You have to come up with more than Jake DeBrusque, who now has left the team.
yeah, let's go to the New England Patriots. Joseph, I know you're a believer now. I know you are in the Messiah. It took a while, but I sent you guys a stat today in our thread. He's the most accurate quarterback in football.
Yeah, but if you take a look at that, all those accurate quarterbacks are on losing teams.
All right, Joe, you gonna do this? Really?
No, he
No,
is.
see, no, you're gonna just see, you
You know
hate
what?
him.
You know what that stat was? That shows how bad our receiving core is. He's accurate on 90. I forget. It's close to 91%
91%.
of the targets. He throws it right at the receiver. The
Yeah.
ball should be caught. It's not being caught.
No. We have the worst receiving core, I would say, in the history of the Patriots. Would you see?
Yeah. If you're throwing, if they complete even 3/4 of what they're supposed to be completing, they're a winning team. They've been in a lot of games.
Yeah. Oh my God. Moody, how many more passes is he going to drop? Polk is the worst wide receiver in the NFL. Key play last week. He's out there motion penalty.
Uh,
Uh,
Pre-snap is always the worst. I mean, that's just a lack of focus and concentration, or just not knowing what you're doing out there.
Look, you say they're going to keep Polk because
They're
they
gonna
have
they're
because
gonna
they're paying him.
guarantee they're keeping him. No ifs, ands, or buts.
So I mean, what? So he's just not going to dress for a couple years, and then they'll send him out the door like they did Thornton.
Yeah, it could be that, but they'll probably dress him for every game. They always dressed Thornton, didn't they?
No, not always.
In case you wanted someone to just open up the top of the defense, go long, go fast. He never caught anything going there.
He's a
Booty
second
doesn't catch anything either. Every one of those long balls, he drops them all.
top of the second round. Polk was, and if you try to trade him right now, you couldn't get a seventh round pick.
No,
Would you agree?
oh no, he's been a disaster. But let's just hope he's learning some hard lessons, and maybe if he does learn from him, doesn't seem to be he's learning from anything. But
No.
if,
And then
but maybe a
Baker,
little off-season reflection. Baker's not even playing at all.
he's a disaster. So apparently he's back in the doghouse because even because he doesn't pay attention, he doesn't know the plays, he doesn't know what he's doing out there. So
That seems to be the problem with these rookies come in. They don't realize how much better these NFL players. They don't understand the speed and how much smarter these guys are than that they faced in college, and they got to learn from them because these guys are teaching them some savage lessons. They're spanking them out there.
Joe, when we came into the preseason, we said, I think we all agreed the most interesting storyline was the
Hope
two
and
wide
Baker.
receivers, Polk and Baker. And we could not have even imagined, seriously,
How
how
bad?
bad they are. They're not NFL players. And to think that Polk, I mean, have you seen any signs that Polk could be a legitimate wide receiver moving forward?
Yeah, but
You
not the
have.
way
You see,
he's approaching the game right now. No,
I mean, the NFL is not a developmental league.
no, no, they don't have a minor league. You can spend 2, 3 years learning your trade.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. You got to know it. You got to do it right from the get go, and neither of those two are.
Baker, they're going to cut though. Baker's not going to be on the team next year. They're not going
Right.
to give. They're not going to give two spots to two
Yeah.
morons. Yeah,
They've got so much money and so much draft capital. They can afford to throw away crap like that.
yeah, and apparently, yeah, he's a knucklehead. So, again, Drake May was the only player in that draft who's going to contribute to the team moving forward. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, I don't see anything else. Maybe Wallace will come around. I bet you Polk will be on the team for at least a couple of years, and maybe 2 years from now he'll be a contributor. But I don't see anything in the near future.
Yeah. So Elliot Wolf, he's been a part of how many years of drafts, Joe,
I
with
don't
the
know how long
Patriots?
has he been there. He's been there quite a few years now.
Why would you keep Elliot Wolf? Why would you keep Matt Groh?
Because he was too cheap to go out and hire someone.
No, but I mean, at this point,
That is what it
I think,
was.
look, um, if Wolf goes, does Mayo go?
Not necessarily. No, I think they're mutually exclusive. They
Okay,
they would, you know, Kraft hired Mayo. Kraft just didn't feel like paying a general manager from the outside to come in,
yeah.
so the Wolf kind of got promoted to the spot.
Um, does he stay or go? Wolf. Let's
Which
first.
one?
Wolf.
These days,
Mayo.
but there could be a shakeup, and he could have a boss come next year. Mayo
Grow.
stays. They all stay.
Van Pelt.
That's the iffy one. Boy, did you see he didn't even, you know how we'd all been screaming for Marcus
Yeah.
Jones to get a play, and he
Yeah.
finally got on that sweep last week. Van Pelt didn't. I guess Marcus was texting him, asking him to put him in for a couple plays on offense. Van Pelt didn't know who he was. He didn't know who Marcus Jones was.
No, he had to know who he was.
That's what he said. I at his
But I
press
thought he
conference.
said he didn't know that he had played offense before.
Yes, he didn't know who he was entirely. He said he was googling the name, and it was a kid guy from the Raiders that had the same
What?
name.
I didn't see that.
Yes, that's what he said. And you say, how does he not know? Didn't he, when he took the job, didn't he look at the past performance of like Ramondre Stevenson and the offensive line and the wide receivers and Marcus
What do you mean?
Jones?
Isn't he watching the games? He sees a guy Jones playing. Isn't he watching when?
He just thinks he's a he just thought he was a defensive back and a returner.
okay, so
He
he knew he was on the team, Joe.
No, he
Okay,
didn't realize who Marcus Jones was. When he got the text,
no,
he
come on.
didn't
I
know
don't
who he was.
believe that. Right, to this
Well,
day, I don't believe that.
well, ask him. That's what he says.
No, I thought he said he didn't know he played offense before. He knew
No,
he.
he said he didn't know who Marcus Jones was, that he was a player on the
You
Patriots.
you need to look that up right now. You look that up.
No, I just saw it. I saw it on TV today on his press conference.
That he didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
All right, hold
he
on.
looked it up. He said he Googled the name and it came up a guy from the Raiders had a cup of coffee with the Raiders and he was wondering until he didn't know until one of the other coaches came to him and said, hey, one of the defensive coaches came to him and said, hey, Marcus is trying to get a hold of you. And he says, who? And he's Marcus Jones. That's how Marcus Jones finally got in.
Is that
A
right?
defensive coach had to tell him that Marcus Jones was the guy on the Patriots.
Hold on. Let me see this here.
I can't remember who the defensive coach was.
Hold on, getting quarterback.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God. No, so he initially didn't know who was texting him. So he spent a few minutes Googling who it might be.
And then later, he still didn't know. Later, a defensive coach came up to him and told him that Marcus is trying to get a hold of you. And that's when he made the connection on the Marcus that was texting him.
Yeah, well, it's not as black as white as he didn't know that Marcus Jones was on the team. He just didn't know who was texting him. He didn't, yeah.
He didn't know who Marcus Jones was.
Yeah. It's, I,
The defensive coach had to tell him, hey, he's trying to get in touch with you.
this is, it's an embarrassment. I mean, that's a fireable offense. He's a punt returner.
He's
He's
a,
a punt returner. So he is
yeah,
in
well, he knew
theory,
afterwards, he knew he was an attorney. He just didn't know that he played offense.
well, punt returners is
I mean, a
offense.
little homework would have told you that. He had some, geez, remember the play against, was it Buffalo?
Yeah,
He went
no,
all the way for the
yeah.
touchdown.
But
And that little,
Joe, a punt returner, I know it's special teams. I understand that, but he is part of the offensive unit.
no,
Yeah,
that special teams is special teams. It's
yeah,
not
but you
part.
have the ball. You're part of the. You're also part of the offensive unit. I mean,
Well, you should see that the guy has ball skills, right? That could be used, especially when you don't have any receivers on your team.
that's unconscionable. That's a fireable offense, don't you think? Not being
It
aware of your.
doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to me. I would think you would have done a little homework before you took the job about who your players are and what you're going to do with them, right?
But you would talk to coaches who were there last year, and people say, "Who do we have to offer?"
Well, looking at film and just watching the film of the offense from last year, you would have seen that he played. He was always in on one or two plays a game until he got hurt.
You know what the worst part of it, Joe, is? He voiced it. What are you, stupid?
Yeah, yeah.
Why would you voice that? You're
He
not
told
talking.
everybody he didn't know nothing.
You're not talking to Uncle Joe here. You're talking to the media. That means you're telling everyone that story. Who tells a story that they look that bad in?
Yeah, yeah. Van Pelt did, but I don't see that as a fireable offense to tell you the truth. But it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good that you don't know about your personnel or your potential personnel.
Well, Joe, you worked for the post office. You had a file, an HR. They had a file of Uncle Joe McLaughlin.
Yep.
That's a paper in the file. That's a paper, right?
Yep.
That's a notice in the file, and X amount of notices will get you
Well,
the.
see, the thing that balances that out is he seems to have done a good job with your Messiah, right? Don't you think there's been market improvement from what you saw
Oh,
back in the remember
absolutely.
the preseason? He kind of sucked.
Well, I mean, just came. Come on, Joe.
Right, right. But it hasn't there been huge improvement. Now, I credit Drake May for that improvement mostly,
Yeah, I
but
mean, taught him
but
footwork.
Van Pelt and them
He
has
taught him footwork.
got to get
Everybody
some
talks
credit
about how
too.
wonderful his footwork is.
Yeah,
And yes, of course, Drake May is fully
he's the number
responsible
one.
for that because it's his feet.
Yeah,
But he's definitely been coached up. I don't have a problem with the way they're
yeah.
handling Drake May. Do you? I think he just
No, not at all. So that I figure balances out. Not knowing the players on the team.
well, maybe you give him a demotion. But if you have him under contract, make him the quarterback coach.
Yeah, just the Browns are already paying him.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's going to be a shakeup at some point, especially if they end up only winning, 4 games or something. It's not going to be the same group of coaches. Um, and they have, except for maybe a handful of players, have very little loyalty to any of these players. I mean, it's
Oh yeah,
Drake May, Gonzo, and the punter.
Yeah,
Otherwise, would you be
they
sad to see it?
re-signed a lot of, Belichick's guys, but they're Belichick's guys, so they'll get rid of those guys.
But I
I
mean,
mean, they'll keep Keon White and Barmore and
yeah, I
Gonzalez.
like White. Yeah, but you know what I mean. There's really not a lot of guys
Yeah.
that you. Yes, there's like we talked about last week.
Doug, the guys that they re-signed, they're going to keep.
Yeah, absolutely, except for Peppers.
Yeah. Well, that's out of their hands entirely, I think.
Well, I'm surprised they haven't cut him yet.
They didn't cut Aaron Hernandez. They're going to cut Peppers.
Well, no, I mean, Kraft talked trash and said if these accusations are true, and Pepper says they're not, if we find out that they're true, we're going to get rid of them. Well, they should. It's not that hard of. It was a domestic assault. It happened a short period of time in a room. How can you not find out what happened?
Well, people live in glass houses. Remember, the accusations against Bob Kraft were true. It just they got thrown out on a technicality
Yeah, no,
by
I
a
know,
good
but I'm
defense
saying
lawyer.
Peppers is not gonna. They don't even care. They don't want Peppers on the team anymore. They're not gonna sure not gonna bring him back this season because they don't want Peppers to help them win a game. I mean, there were no
Yeah.
reason to do that. Um, he's probably out of shape now, anyways.
Oh yeah. He's not being allowed to practice or anything, so all he's got is go down to the local gym.
All right, Joe, I got to go for a second. Tell me what you've seen in the development of Drake May.
Well, the most obvious things I've seen in the development of May have been his being being able to go under center. His passes, his decision making has improved 100% since he started. Before, all he was seeing was the primary receiver. The first thing he did, no progressions, no nothing, just staring down one guy as the guy following the guy through his pattern and throwing it out. You don't see that anymore. He's got a few tools. Now he sees when things open up a hole, if someone leaves their gap, he's ready to run right through it.
And you
With
can't
one,
teach size, you can't teach speed, and he has both of those. And
yeah.
arm strength, all of them.
And he's got a sense of what's happening. He's living in the moment, and he's aware of everything that's going on around him. There's a lot going around very fast
Yeah.
around him on a football field. You got 21 other players, you
And he's
know.
showing leadership skills, dapping up everybody every second. He's very impressive in the press conferences. This guy's 22 years old. Yeah, quite an
Yeah, and
impressive guy for 22.
taken some big hits, got dusted himself off, and got back out there, and
Yeah.
wasn't flinching the next time out.
So it's safe to say that the Patriots and all Patriots fans are very happy that Drake May is on the Patriots.
Yeah, but we don't want him to be Andrew Luck.
No, and Andrew Luck was hurt a lot
And
because,
Andrew Luck was a lot better quarterback than Drake, probably.
well, Luck,
Andrew Luck was could have been an all-time great,
but he had
but he
no
had the
offensive line.
world's cheapest offensive line. That's just Jim Irsay's problem.
Yeah, look, if the Patriots don't go and buy two quality offensive linemen in the
You
offseason,
you can't get left tackles. No one gives them. It's like quarterbacks. People tie them up. If they find they
right?
have one, they tie them up. For a long-term contract. They don't let them get to free agency.
But you need to go get a quality center in the free agency. You can get those guys.
Well, that's going to be the guy coming back now.
Strange. Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. I don't believe that. What a
Well,
strange.
Van Pelt addressed that today, and he said obviously he can play any of the three positions. He said we'd like to see him at center. He was originally drafted with that in mind. I
He's
didn't realize that.
he's been injury prone, Joe,
Yes,
his
well,
whole career.
and this knee, that was a real bad knee injury he took.
And they
I mean,
wouldn't
he,
even talk
he was
about it. They
destroyed.
wouldn't even
He was
disclose
destroyed.
what kind of injury he had.
Well, it was destroyed. He had to learn how to walk again and everything.
Is that what they said?
Yeah,
Holy
it
shit.
was destroyed.
Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, the
Yeah, we'll
center.
see. And maybe center would be a better place for that. He's
Yeah.
got the smarts, he knows what he's doing. So maybe that would be the place. Geez, it can't be worse than we've had at center this year. That's been a
Oh,
terrible position.
yeah.
Remember that this last week, that sack where the center just whiffed entirely. The guy just blew in.
Oh, that was
That
that.
was that that was the fastest sack in the NFL this year.
Yeah, it almost got the
It
Messiah
was
killed.
less than a second. Less than a second. He was and he
Yeah,
and
you
he was
can't.
just leaning back and he took that right in the ribs. That was a bad shot.
Yeah, they're gonna. Andrew's gonna retire. There's no reason for him to play anymore. And he can't have much left after taking basically a year off because of injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's coming off. He took what 2 years ago he took the
yeah,
year
with the
off.
blood clot. Yeah,
But
so yeah, look, the poor guy. He was a good soldier, undrafted out of Georgia. I mean,
yeah,
couldn't ask for more. Though
an
you never liked him.
undersized guy, but he learned how to play the game at the professional level. He had the smarts and he made it work.
You never liked him. Never. You
Well,
wanted to
I
replace
always
him
thought they
every
could
year.
do better. I always thought they could do
And we'll
better.
see. There you go. There you go. All right, Joseph, we got to do predictions. The fellas did not check in with their predictions. It's the Dolphins against the Patriots. It's in Miami. Oh my God, the history of us in Miami has always been so poor.
Even Tom Brady never did well there.
No,
It was Joe Robbie Stadium then.
especially when they would have the games in September and be hot as hell. They never had a chance. Um, Look, we're at a point at 3-8 where I'm with you guys. I want Drake to play well, the Messiah, but I want them to lose. Are you there yet?
Oh, I want Drake to play well. I still want the Patriots to win. I'm a Patriots fan. I want them to win, and I always root for them.
Okay,
Yeah, I can't root for the other team.
that was a mistake last year, Joe, because you kept on saying that, and you realized had we won another game, we would not have Drake May. We'd probably have an
Yeah,
injured JJ McCarthy.
yeah. But I thought the high point of the season was that Christmas Eve, the field goal with no time remaining to beat Denver.
That was the low point of the season, Joseph. It's a complete opposite. Okay, give me a prediction.
Oh, geez, that's I don't
Two
like
is
either.
back, right? Two is back with them, right?
Yeah, but he took a good hit last week. He's probably a little woozy still.
That poor
Um,
guy. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing.
yeah, that's hard. I think the Patriots defense will finally make a play. They just no pick sixes, no fumble recoveries for anything. They haven't done anything. They're due for it. So I'm going to say they get a touchdown, and Drake May gets 2 touchdowns, and the Patriots win
Whoa, whoa.
24-20.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're overestimating the defense. That was as bad a performance against the
They
Rams.
just haven't. They just haven't. Remember 2 years ago, they led the NFL in forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
Now they don't make any plays. They don't get.
Nobody hits hard in that. Who hits hard in that defense?
Um, but you think they get some interceptions? Now it's like every third or fourth game, maybe they get one.
They don't even have close interceptions, but they almost got.
No,
No. Um, who hits? No, again, answer my question, Joseph. Who hits
Duggar,
hard on the defense?
Duggar. But that's
I think Duggar's been had a poor season.
yeah. Oh, he had a terrible game last. Well, he's been injured, and then he came back last week, and I think he was playing tentative because he stunk.
But other than Duggar, who plays hard? Hits hard?
Mm. Yeah, you don't have hard hitters out there.
Oh, you
The rest
don't.
of the defensive backfield,
And
uh,
you don't have speed.
maybe Mapu, if you give him a chance. He,
Oh, I don't know. I've been
but
hearing
he's
about
he's
him for
kind of
like
light
20
all over.
years. I mean, did he start with the Steve Grogan era? I mean, I've heard more about this guy, and he's made no impact on the field at all.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see more of him now as the defense gets whittled down by injuries and people go fall by the wayside. But I guess Barmore's back. He didn't do anything last week, but
Yeah, I was
Eyes to take
surprised.
he takes up some space. He closes a gap just with his
Yeah.
body.
0-0. The Bruins have 12 shots in the first period. Of course, no goals.
13 now.
Okay, so I'm going to go the Dolphins 28 and the Patriots 17. So can you write this down for us, Joseph?
Of
You
course, I
20, 24-20 Patriots. I have 28-17 Dolphins. And again, we're still in a good position to get the number one pick in the draft. And then we'll be trading that away. Um, would you trade it away if the best offer you got for the number one pick was the New York Jets? Would you trade to them?
yes, I'll take the best offer. But you know what? I was looking. There's only one guy listed as an offensive tackle in first round grade on him.
Yeah,
That Campbell
Campbell.
from LSU.
Yeah.
And the scouts say his arms are short. He's going to be a guard in the NFL.
Yeah, that
He's
was
Isaiah Wynn all over again.
yeah, I don't know if they'll do that. I think yeah, they'll probably go best player available once they if they trade down.
Yeah. Well, there's a number of wide receivers that they could go
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't that's blasphemy. I would like them to if take
an edge defender, an edge
right
rusher.
the best defensive player, whether it be corner. I wouldn't mind another shutdown cornerback on the other side.
Well, I don't. I think it's mostly edge defenders that people want up front because remember they're a high priced item.
Yeah, right.
Then you'd be cost controlled for 5 years.
Yeah, that's a great point. But wouldn't you like another? You have Gonzo on one side and another shutdown corner on the other.
Oh yeah, that'd be like Revis and
Yeah,
there
Gilmore.
Brown. Yeah,
Oh, right, Browner. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Browner wasn't much of a coverage guy, but he kept you from getting off the line, so you never got out into your pattern.
but you have two shutdown corners. That's a nice way to start, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they'll have a lot of.
But they need a pass rush more than anything in the backfield. They need a pass rush. They don't have one. They need that edge defender. They need that Aiden Hutchinson, the Von Miller, that guy.
How about my guy Parsons? Is he a free agent after this year?
I believe he is. You know,
Oh,
obviously the Cowboys are going to try to.
they'll franchise tag him.
Yeah, he made back earlier this year when he was looking for that extension. He made a lot of noise that he would not be a happy camper if they tried, and that's dangerous, especially with the position he plays. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
you can lose your career over in an injury
yeah.
that quick.
And the Cowboys are just a disaster.
Yeah.
And they'll be more of a disaster if they all of a sudden hire this guy named Bill B.
Well, Dak Prescott is done for the year. He's going to have the season-ending surgery.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna just keep on losing.
Yeah.
They may get the first pick in the draft, and they'll have a very
Well,
interesting.
they're tied with us right now, right? Three
I know,
wins.
but we have the strengths of schedule. That's where we get them. It's all about strength of
Oh,
schedule.
they get to play the Giants.
That's true. But
Kick
yeah,
them
right.
out.
Well, that's yeah. So yeah, there you go. So that may be a win for them. All right, Joseph.
We're just lucky that Miami is having a poor year and the Jets are having a poor year. So that makes our strength of schedule really weak.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, we're clearly the weakest one right now. Remember, it was the Dolphins who had the
Yeah.
weakest schedule, but now they have 4 wins, and now you lose to the Dolphins this week, and you're all set.
And the Patriots don't have many winnable games coming
Oh,
down the
because they
stretch.
played two against the Bills, one against Arizona, the Dolphins this week. Um, then they
The
also
Chargers.
and then the Colts, right? And then
Yeah.
that's it. And that's the schedule. I think the only winnable game really is this Sunday, and
And
then
Colts.
the Colts. I think they'll lose to Arizona in Arizona,
Yeah.
um, and then they'll lose obviously the 2 games to the Bills. Um, Unless the Bills have nothing to play for. That's going to be a
Yeah.
problem too. You know.
But I'm sure if it, yeah, I don't, I think Kansas City, even they would have to win out, and Kansas City has to lose again for them to, even entertain thoughts of
Yeah. So
the
who
number one,
knows?
because there's only one bye, only one team gets a bye now.
Yeah. Though Kansas City, I don't think they're that good. They've had a rough season as far as I know they were undefeated, but they've had a lot of tough games. They have that whole 2019 Patriots feel to them.
How how can how bad is their receiving core when they pick up Taekwon
Oh
Thornton?
my God. Oh
And not for the practice squad. They had to put him on the
no,
50.
no, no, no. Practice squad. He is
No,
practice.
53. You when you
No, no practice squad. No, because they cut him. They cut
yeah.
him.
Well, if you pick up someone off waivers, you have to put him on the roster.
Nope, they put him on the practice squad. I'm sure of it. I saw that. I know you had said that, but he's on the practice squad.
Okay.
Um, no, no. If you
If you
take
take him off the practice
off the
squad,
practice squad, you
he
have to.
has to
I think 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah.
he has to play for
No,
three
but he
weeks.
got straight out cut, so he's just a street free agent. So you can put him on the practice squad, um, which just doesn't do you any good because he can't play. He doesn't know how to play football.
He's speed, and that's what they're looking for. They've been looking for that with since no they lost Hill.
I'm sure and we'll all be watching. The first game he'll end up playing, he'll have 180 yards. You know that's going to happen. I mean, that's just right now. That's the way it looks. But I mean, again, the perception of the Patriots, and we got to go to the Red Sox, but the perception of the Patriots has changed completely. Would you agree now that the Messiah is here?
Oh yeah, people have a rosy outlook on the Patriots' future, and I'm not so rosy because I'm not so sure they're going to be able to put the people around him, either coaches or other players. I don't
Well,
want him to be Andrew Luck.
nobody does. We don't want him to be Jim Plunkett either, where he ends up leaving the Patriots and going somewhere else and winning 2 Super Bowls. All right, got to go to Boston Red Sox, and obviously, it's been quite a while now. I met John Henry. The world knows. I had a nice 15-minute conversation with him, and nicest guy in the world, Joe. Willing to talk, but I said, and I had obviously it was trending and it went viral, the picture and all, but I also mentioned that he said he was going to be a big spender. They were going to be a big spender this offseason. And Sam Kennedy comes out yesterday, complete change of tune. He says they're going to be big spenders.
They're not getting Soto though. I've come to that. Steve Cohen is going to get him.
Joe, Big Poppy said today he thinks Soto is coming to the Red Sox.
Soto grew up a Red Sox fan. His favorite player is Manny. He said the one thing that impressed him was the way they presented to him that they could be contenders for years to come with the young people in their farm system and the core they have here now and their willingness to spend on pitching. That's what impressed him most about the Red Sox, that they could be a viable contender for many years to come. But when it comes down to the money, the Mets are already have said they're willing, whatever the highest offer you get, put 50 million on top of it, and that's what we're offering.
Joe, I mean, there's only a certain amount that I don't believe that because they were trying to get rid of Pete Alonso because he was going to make too much. I'm not. Look, Soto's going to make so much money, and he's going to end up the star of the Red Sox if he signs. And I think that he's not going to. He re-signs with the Yankees, and he's not the star. He's potentially the third best player on the team, or the third player that gets the third most publicity. He comes here and he's the star. Don't you think that means a lot?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
but I think at the same time, the Mets are looking at it at what a coup to steal from their crosstown rivals.
well, you think the Red Sox aren't doing that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I just think the Mets are more willing to spend that kind of money.
Look, I so you think there's a chance that the Red Sox sign Soto, or we just blowing a
Oh,
smoke?
I'm no, I think it was just bullshit. I think they'd love to, but I don't think they can or will.
If he, I mean, look, there's got to be final offers. They can't keep on. The Mets can't just.
I guess I read that the Yankees are at 660 million.
For how many years?
I don't know, but the contract to be worth 660 million. Now, if that's 10 years, that's 66 million a year. But I
I'm going
guess
to bet you no. This is going to be more. He's 26. I'm going to bet you it's between 12 and 14 years.
but Boros, I guess they keep saying Boros wants, the 700 million. That's what he's talking. He's
What do you do?
talking.
Look, if you do 700 for 14 years, why not? 50 a year.
Yeah. Hey,
Why-
I'm with you, but I don't think the Red Sox will. I don't think they'll win the sweepstakes. One of
Look,
those New York teams will pay more.
look. I think the key question is, does he just want to go to the highest bidder? And I think when you
Now,
get
his agent will be counseling for that, and it's Scott Boros, and he has never, ever wanted to accept one penny less from anyone. He'd send you to Timbuktu for a penny more, right?
he did, but I mean, this is huge numbers, and Boris, his reputation has been tainted after last year. So I don't think he's going to screw this up. He's going to listen to what his client wants because he's obviously going to get a big, piece of change here. Um,
Oh, yeah. 10% of that. Oh, that's 10%
look,
of 700 million is
look, what's the difference between 700 and seven
million.
hundred fifty million over 14, 15 years? There's no difference. There's no difference. It's gonna, tax wise and everything, there's no difference. And if the Massachusetts tax is lower than New York, which I think it is, then there you go. I mean, you can play that end too.
Oh, and plus you have the New York City tax on top of the New York
Yeah.
State tax.
So there is, I mean, there is, if that's what it has to be, but nobody's going to say if he signs a $700 million contract, he should have signed with another team. Come on.
Well, I'd welcome him to the team. That's for sure.
Well, look, why is Kennedy talking like this?
To sell tickets, you know as well as I do that it's re-up for the season ticket holders right now, right?
Yeah, January 16th is yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
that's why.
that's a deadline.
He's going to talk that right up to January 16th at midnight, and then he'll say, "Well, we were in the hunt, but we didn't win."
Look, I'm the only person that in the public who has spoken to John Henry. He said he was going to spend. I believe him. Uh,
Oh, I believe him too. I just don't think it's going to be Soto. I think there's a lot to be spent. You can get four good players
no,
from
no, I
Soto.
can't hear this anymore, Joe. I can't do. You can't do. You got to stop doing this. I don't know where you
You,
get
you don't
four
want
good
you
players.
don't want Freed and
Joe, I don't know where you get four.
Capucci or
I don't
who do you
know,
want? You
Joe.
don't want you don't want pitching.
Where do you get four good players from? What are you talking about? Who are you signing a quality free agent for 12 to 15 million a year, Joe? Come
No, you can pay him 30 million a year.
on, that's
You can
two.
pay three guys 30 million. Remember, you're adding up to 700.
No, you're not, Joe. You're not adding up to 700 right now.
You're
The
only going to
future
have to give
deals.
these guys the pitchers. You're only giving 3 year deals to, right?
Joe, it's 14 years. Come on, it's a difference.
That's what you would give Soto. You're not giving that to any pitcher. You're only giving a 3 year deal, 30 million a year.
I know,
Don't
I know.
mind it.
Joe, I thought you were convinced that Soto was the guy to get.
Oh, I'd welcome him. I'd go to the airport and drive him here. It just, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well,
And
again,
I don't mind the plan B as long as they do spend
but
and they go out and fill the holes they have.
okay, my question is, do the Red Sox delusionally think that if that they're going to get a participation trophy if Soto does not sign with the Red Sox, but yet they really gave a nice, fun offer. Do they really think they're going to get the fans are going to buy?
They've been playing that game for years, right? That's the and Bob Kraft has picked up on that. how how
Oh,
Calvin
yeah, we
Ridley,
almost yeah. It mentioned
yeah,
their
oh yeah,
girlfriends
his
and yeah, they
girlfriend didn't like it here,
oh
and then
God,
Elliot Wolf drops it 3 weeks later and says, "Oh, we got outbid."
of course they did. Um, I think they just go for it. I think that they go for it, and if
Soto would be a great addition. I can see the way it would work because then you'd have a quality young outfielder to be able to dangle in the trade market. I mean, three potential all stars in Duran, Rafaela, and Abreu. Three could be all stars, all under your control, all making peanuts right now.
Joe, you probably make his first year salary back if you announce his signing right now. You make it back. All of a sudden, the place is going to be banged out.
Because you're going to start selling, you'll sell the high price tickets.
The luxury box seats will all be whatever. You're going to
Those
get
were all empty.
you're going to get the sponsors coming back big time.
Yep.
Destin's going to be doubling or tripling their ad rates,
Yep.
and they're going to get everything. And I mean, the star power of a Soto in this town is going to be incredible.
And it'll translate through the lineup too. And maybe if guys like Devers and Rafaela are kind of wild swingers right now, maybe sit there watch this guy work. You know, they'd learn a thing or two, a little
Oh,
plate discipline.
let's talk about the lineup, Joe. Let's do a little Red Sox porn. Let's start with the catcher. Wong at catcher. I got no problem with him, I think, and a right-handed hitter. And Teal as the backup, the young
And
backup.
he's lefty, right? Yeah.
Lefty, he's lefty. Um, so we're all set at catcher. Uh, they're cheap when we talk about finances, and that's what I think the Red Sox are going to look at. How many players, how many positions do they have where they've got guys making minimum or small money? So here we go.
Way below the league average. And
Yeah. So then you go first base, Paces, making minimum right
yeah,
now. Um, going to be making minimum for quite a while, and it'll go arbitration, but he won't be getting big bucks for the next couple of years. Okay. Uh, Case potential 40 home run guy if he can stay healthy. Second base, Campbell. Looks like they're going to give him that spot, which is this guy's
and he's got a ton of years because he's only 2 years in.
Campbell.
He's
Well, no, it doesn't
rocketed.
matter. It's when they get to the major leagues. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, Joe. He's minimum wage for a long time, right-handed hitter, and you're not expending any money.
yeah.
Now, here we go to the situation.
Story.
Story. The story. Can you get rid of Story? And you know they would love to do that.
They would have to pay his salary.
No, no, they wouldn't, Joe. They would not. Nope. There's a great need for middle infielders like him. Um, they, what does he make? Like 25, 26 million a year
Yeah.
next, what, 3 years, I think. Um, I think you could probably half it, and they'd probably be very happy. See if they get a prospect or two and pay half his salary and send him out the door. And now all of a sudden, you've got another 13 million a year to add to the guy we're going to talk about, right? Right?
Yep.
And then you put some guy named Mayer, Marcelo Mayer. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I think he's still a couple years away.
Not a couple years away.
Yes, because he
Okay,
still hasn't gotten through a year uninjured.
let's put Rafaela there.
He
Put
hasn't
Rafaela
played a
there.
full year.
Put Rafaela there.
I like him in center, to tell you the truth. If you
I
want
know,
to
but
put
we got
Duran back there, you
outfielders. We
can.
got Joe. Hold on, Joe. We're putting Rafaela as shortstop. I have to just take over here. Third base, Rafael Devers, big star. Okay, so now all of a sudden we got the outfield. Juan Soto in left field.
Yeah.
How happy are you?
Oh, you love it. And if I was them, I would have sold them on, the left field at Fenway Park has been Ted Williams, Carl
Oh,
Yastrzemski, Jim Ed Rice, all Hall of Famers. Manny
Manny
Ramirez,
I
your
know.
favorite player who should be a Hall of Famer but won't be because of the steroids. And now you could be part of that, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
pantheon of stars. That's the way I would have sold them.
yeah. Center field Duran. He's improved dramatically in the field. Um, and he's one of the most exciting players in baseball and was eighth in the MVP voting today.
Mhm. Oh,
Right,
I thought he would do better.
right field is Roman Anthony. And now all this, remember, you're not paying Duran hardly anything, and you're not paying Roman Anthony anything either.
Roman Anthony might be the guy they trade.
Then, Joseph, how many times do I have to tell you that
You can't trade your prospects.
You can't trade my prospects. Roman Anthony's going to be a huge star. You've not seen him play. I have seen him play. The guy he's gigantic. He looks like he's playing Little League. He's so big.
Biggest Soto.
Oh, bigger than Soto. He's when Russ and I were there, we were comparing him to Jose Canseco big. He's not as tall, obviously, as the Judges and the Stantons of the world, but he's Jose Canseco big, and he was what, 21 years old. He's that big, and he's got a huge swing. I mean, he's that guy knows what he's doing up at the plate at a young age. You're gonna love him. Now, all of a sudden, we've created Cases. You're not paying Wong anything. You're not paying Cases anything. You're not paying Campbell anything. You're not paying Anthony anything. You're not paying Duran anything. You have plenty of space in your allocation for your starting nine to pay Soto.
Yeah. And they've never paid the bullpen much. No,
No,
most
you don't
most
pay
most
bullpen.
most teams ever do,
Well, remember, they freed up a lot of money because they were paying Jansen like 12, 13 a year.
And
And Martin,
Martin must have gotten a decent amount.
I think like 7 or 8. Yeah.
I heard they're going to re-sign him.
Yeah, we'll see then. Yeah, we'll see. No.
I think he wore his welcome out last year, where he just quit in the middle of the year.
Yeah, I think he didn't do that twice.
Was it? Well, he was hurt once, and then the second time was depression or mental
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, we don't need. Yeah, we already have Duran to cover all of
Yeah.
that. Trust me. I mean, Cora deserves. He deserved the extension just dealing with Duran every day.
Warren deserved a medal for that bullpen.
Yeah.
He had
But
nothing. In Bernardino and Slayton, and then it was, you know, get it to Kenley somehow.
um, yes, absolutely. Obviously, we'll see what Whitlock. I'm not sold on Whitlock at all, but I guess we can. It's a fait accompli, if I can say French, Joe, that Abreu is going to be traded.
That's what it looks like. I mean, he's young, under control, Gold Glove, good
Power,
hitter, a little power. He's perfect for to trade for a nice young pitcher, a nice young
yeah.
doesn't have to be a stud now. It could be a triple A prospect.
Well, you better get. Oh, you better. You're
You
gonna
better get someone good because Abreu was a potential all-star.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's a heck of a player, and he's young, and he's
Yeah,
controlled.
I can't think of the last guy, a rookie that won a Gold Glove for the Red Sox. That's
That's
hard to do because Gold Glove is usually on past reputation.
yeah,
I
that's a
mean,
great point.
Derek Jeter was winning them 5 years after he stopped even chasing ground balls.
Yeah, I know it's totally true. I know.
That's
Look, Abreu's a
that's
good.
usually the way it goes. When a young guy makes that much of an impression on the voters,
Abreu's
that's
a good
something
player.
special.
He hustles.
He's got the great arm too. He's got a gun for an arm.
He's everything you want in a player, but we have an excess, and you get
Yeah, well, yeah,
Soto,
that's
and
where
then
we have. That's our strength.
yeah, but you're going to want a lot for him. You're not going to have you go get a pitcher. You're not going to have to give much more than that.
Yeah, I just throw you just throw in a pitching prospect. Yeah, unless it's someone like Crochet or something, then you gotta up
No,
the
I
ante.
wouldn't give him too much more than that. You're giving him, yeah, you give him a pitcher,
You're
but
giving them an everyday player for an every fifth or sixth day player.
yeah, and most likely the pitcher's going to get hurt before the player does.
Oh yeah.
And when they get
It
hurt,
seems
that's
like
the
every
season.
pitcher goes through at least one Tommy John.
When a pitcher gets hurt, that's the season.
Yeah,
Generally, the moment they go like this,
yeah.
that's it. Because they're not going like this. They're going like this because that thing just tore.
Yeah. It's the way the game has evolved where they just throw 100 miles an hour on every pitch.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
No
Um,
one remember guys that like Frank Viola and Tom Seaver, they when they lost that velocity, they learned how to,
yeah,
junk ball
that's right.
for
Frank Tanana, I remember too.
oh yeah. Guys that had formerly been, fastball guys.
Yeah, they learned how
Just
to
pure
pitch.
fastballs.
Yeah. And yeah, some a lot
No one
obviously.
does that anymore. Learns how to be the crafty lefty.
No, well, Rich Hill tried.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we got to get a quality lefty starter. That's something we've
Yeah, so
latched
that's why
on
Max Fried. Look, I would take
plus.
Max Fried, sign Max Fried and Soto, and I'm good. And then trade Abreu for you could trade Abreu for a quality closer too. If
Yeah,
you
because we need a closer now too.
yeah. But you
I don't trust, going to Slayton just yet. Keep him as an eighth inning guy for another year.
yeah. Well, I like the Whitlock in that role, but I don't know what you could expect from him at
I
all.
don't think he's just not dependable enough. He always finds a way to get injured.
Yeah, well, that's right. But he's definitely not going to be a starter. I don't think anyone thinks that's going to happen.
No,
Yeah, I mean that's all right. We got to finish up with the Boston Celtics. They won a championship, Joe. Did you know that?
no. They were at the White House today with Joe Biden.
Great, great. This is where we like to see. Look, the Celtics against the Cavaliers live by the three, die by the three. They lived by the three, but geez, that was too close for comfort for a Celtics team that was shooting the lights out on the three pointers. What looks like Cleveland and the Celtics will probably be in the Eastern Conference final.
Boy, and Cleveland was missing their two best defensive players.
So this was a good test.
And on the first night of a back to back, too.
Yeah, I don't think we should pump our chest too much and say they don't need KP because I think they need KP to beat the
Yeah, you,
Cavaliers.
you would like it. But I had to say the climactic play was such a great Celtics play with D White blocking the shot at one end, giving it to Al, and Al running up the court so as fast as I've ever seen him move. And then he finds Tatum. Tatum gets trapped under the basket, whips it out to
Richard,
Pritchard,
yeah, I know.
goes like 10 yards past the line, just throws it up, nothing but net. And that sealed the game right there. That was it. Game over.
I think we talked about this a number of times, but it was pretty clear from years past, other than last year, is that in the playoffs last year, Joe, especially games against
Mhm.
like Indiana, they learned how to win close games.
Yeah. It
And
took it took them a while. They didn't uh under Rime, they couldn't do it. They couldn't get over uh Missoula's first year, they couldn't do it.
but they have no panic in them now.
Yeah.
Having had that success and
Well,
winning a
and they've
championship,
started they started taking the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands at the end too.
yeah, yeah,
Like the other night, that was only the second buzzer beater he'd ever had in his career. The play wasn't to him. It was supposed to be to Brown, but Brown got
yeah,
cleaned,
yeah.
got run over. But the play was to Brown, and Tatum got stuck with it. So he threw it up, but sure enough, good enough. And
How
funny
that
because
wasn't a
right after
foul?
that, remember the end of what?
How that wasn't a foul? that
The refs ate the whistle there. But remember, the end of regulation, Tatum throws it up and missed the basket entirely. Remember that?
oh, I know.
What the hell? It was
Look, I
worse
would
than
rather have them
football.
driving to the basket, or of course, I'd rather have D. White or Holiday taking that shot.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind Tatum, but I instead of the step back three or
Oh,
step side, drive to the hoop,
yeah,
get the foul, go to the free throw line,
yeah.
or get the two. When all you need is 1 point, what are you doing shooting threes? You
Oh,
need 1 point.
he's been doing that his whole career. The step
I
back
know
three.
it
The
drives me crazy.
whole career. Every end of every quarter, if the
That's
Celtics have
just
the possession, he will do that.
it's lack of situational awareness. You don't know what the score is. You need 1 point, not three.
Yeah,
Game over at 1 point. Makes no sense to me.
won't do it. All right, well, Joe, that's our show for tonight. Of course, we went long because it's the uncle, had to do it. Please check us out. Well, of course, we want to thank Uncle Joe for all his great insight. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Thursday night at 7 o'clock for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.
And safe travel.